powerful people. We are here with Shakeva Frazier, youth advocate and community activist, and she is on the spot.
I am.
Don't be scared.
Okay.
All right. What's the most difficult decision you've had to make, and what were the consequences?
The most difficult decision I had to make, and what were the consequences? I would say stepping down from a job that I really liked. Yeah,
Okay.
stepping down from a job that I really like. And it was difficult more or less because I love to serve, and the job allowed me to serve. And so the consequences was that part of my life altered,
Right.
but it was for the best.
Right.
It was like a bittersweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Your season in that endeavor
That
had
part.
concluded.
That part. And so, yes.
So talk to us about the work that you're doing now and how it adds meaning for your life and for the lives that you touch through that work.
Okay. So as of now, I work for the city of Danville, Project Imagine. I started off as an outreach worker. So we work with youth who are gang related or just having a lot of delinquency problems. And so for me, it's a joy because I grew up in a troublesome environment and was very abusive. And I guess it was reasons why it was that way, but as a child, you don't see it that way because you're trying to be a child. And so it led to me going out in the streets early. I got pregnant early while I was still in high school. I ended up dropping out of high school. Caught a charge very early in life, a felony. Dropped out of high school, and so continued to go down that road, getting pregnant, back and forth in jail, just not stable. And so the work that I do now, it allows me to reach those young ladies and men that I see maybe in those positions. I'm sorry.
Whew. Oh no, take your time.
Just help them to come from it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not expect that. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's a powerful moment when you think about things that are so challenging about your journey and that it has meaning for someone else and that you're able to use those experiences to have an impact.
Right.
And it's difficult because your heart is all the way in when you're coming from that place.
Can you give me some tissue? I don't want to be on here crying, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay. Yeah. So it allows me to be able to step in because one thing that I've learned, Natalie, is that when I was young, I would tell you about this moment. When I was young and I had to stay in a household and other organizations that were supposed to help, they would be sent. And I always still had to stay there for some reason. And I remember after I got saved and I was doing well, one of the social workers had to come to my house because my son was going through some issues. And I remembered her from when I was little. And I said, I remember you. Why you let me stay in my house? She said, I had to because your siblings needed you. She made a choice, And so I realized that that's how it is sometimes. You be the sacrifice. And so I know a lot of young people I work with, they're not coming out. They're going to have to be there. So I like my job because it allows me to help them through the process. So I always tell them, I may not be able to take you out, but I can go through it with you. And you will get past this.
Yeah.
You're going to be grown one day and you're going to go help somebody. And so that's what this allows me to do. Yeah. That part.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was not expecting that. Lord. I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
you're fine.
All right. Am I still gonna look cute? Lord have
Yes,
mercy.
you still look cute.
Okay. All right. I'm back.
So you're bringing some very deep experiences to the table as you're working with young people. And clearly you have an amazing heart for this work. You were on purpose. What are some of the things you're seeing as you're engaging with young people today that you feel like are some key things that they need to kind of reimagine to create new pathways for themselves? What are those hot topic issues that you're seeing in their lives today?
To be honest, I know that the answer of maybe telling them about success or a job or something, but what I see that helps them reimagine is hope. When I let them know that it's bigger than what they are going through and that they really can come up out of it, even while they're in it, their mind can begin to come up out of it. It strikes another fire. It's like when they go back home that night or the next day, they begin to see things different.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have their triggers and different moments, but they begin to think about the consequences of, well, if I snap today because I'm going through this, because they have hope that they too can make it. I'm very honest with them. I cry. And I have a student, she was just ready to give up a while back. And I remember standing out in the street with her, and I just needed her to know, you next, you me, and I gave her everything I had. And since then, that's been about 2.5 years ago. She's been on the road. She's going to graduate this year. She
Awesome.
hasn't been back to suicide, where she was ready to kill herself. She hasn't been back to detention home. Now, today she inboxed me saying she want to start college applications.
That's
But I had to
amazing.
make her see that key in her. So that hope, even with the young boys, just that you got it. You next.
Right.
It's not going to always be that. So that's what I see as the key, that it's bigger, that even your pain has a purpose. What you're going through, begin to journal
100%.
it. You know what I'm saying? It's for a reason. It's to strengthen you. And I feel like when I give them that, to me, that helps them to reimagine. They begin to look at things. The perspective changes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying you're in training ground. Are they doing that to you? See if you can be bigger than that when they do it. You in training ground, because it's gonna happen when you get grown too at work. And so they begin to look at situations different. I be like, yeah, you boss, you queened on them, didn't you? They like that. Yeah. So
Yeah. I like that
so
too.
yeah.
I want to queen on somebody. I'm queening on these people
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
queening
spot.
on them. Yeah. So a young girl, she said, this lady been giving me a hard time and stuff. And Miss Shakeva, she talking about me, do this and do that. I said, well, just queen on. I said, don't snap on them. I said, just be like, I wish it still were your older ladies who were pouring to young people like me who were kind of lost. And I said, you're going to kill her heart when you do that. You know what I'm saying? I said, but you're going to do it with respect. I
Right.
said, you queen on them. And so it just helps the perspective to change when you, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Do you? I just can't wait to use queen. I'm queening on people. Do you remember the moment when you had someone who poured into you and that made the difference to help you change directions?
Actually, it's my children. They were a major player. They prayed me through when I was in the street. That's actually how I came out. I wasn't in the church. I was at home. But I remember one night I had been up all night, and my children didn't know that for years. Even when I would hang out, I didn't sleep well because I had been in the domestic abuse as a,
Mm.
and so I guess I still had trauma. I'm talking about years later, not with the person or anything. So at nighttime, the person used to come and stalk, or stand by my windows and stuff. So I never really adjusted to sleeping at night. I always would go to sleep at the break of day. And I've done it for years. I had been doing it. And my daughter caught me. And this is a weird pouring into moment, but it's real. And she said, Mama, you've been up all night. I said, yes, baby. She was little. She probably maybe was 9. She said, why? I told her, I said, I had a, guy, he used to beat me. And when we broke up, he would stalk. And I said, for a long time he done it, have guns and stuff. And I said, so I feel better when the sun up because I can see and I know it's safe and he ain't around. She said, but think about all the time you wasted staying up and nothing happened. And I know that's a weird pouring into moment.
Yeah.
But
it's a 9-year-old being real.
Old. And she said, think about all the nights you stayed up and nothing happened. And I thought about it, and then I realized I had been wasting time. And it caused the stress. You're not getting complete rest.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this for years. And it just made me see something different. So it's but it helped me to reevaluate a lot of things in my life where I had been wasting time over stuff that wasn't happening or going to happen. It changed the way I worried, just
Yeah.
and so that's a weird point into moment. But she poured into me that night.
Right.
Well, that morning, daybreak. And that was
Yeah.
my daybreak
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
That was my moment. Her pouring into me. And my children in their own ways, they continue to pour. So that was I know it sounds weird, but that was a major moment
No,
for me.
everybody has that time when the daybreak.
Daybreak.
The daybreak happens, and there's no specific way that it has to happen. It will be different for everyone,
That's right.
but it's an important moment for you. What happened next?
From her doing
So
that.
when that
Yeah.
daybreak moment
So
happened, then what
yeah.
was the next thing?
Getting
How
some
did that?
rest.
Yeah.
Okay, adjusting my body because like I
Right.
said, I've been doing that. I have been doing that for years. I'm talking about
Hmm.
maybe 8, 9 years
Wow.
after the breakup. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Traumatized. And so after that, I began to go to sleep when normal people should rest, unless you have a
Hmm.
job,
Hmm.
just begin to look at things differently. Why am I worried about this when that's not even happening? So I began to feel better about myself, about life. Stress began to leave from my stomach
Right.
because I
Well,
didn't.
getting rest.
I'm getting. I'm thinking better. So
Right.
yeah, it really was a moment, a shift for me.
Hmm.
My schedule got adjusted, my mind got right. I began to breathe better,
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm all right.
So daybreak happens. You
Yeah.
start getting rest.
Yes.
Your mind clears.
Yes.
What was the pathway to get into the work that you're doing now?
So we end up moving into a complex. And when I was staying there, it was a place you can volunteer. Mind you, I told you I had got in trouble when I was young and it was
Mhm.
holding me back. So it was a place I would go volunteer. And the housing authority asked me to work for them after I volunteered for some months. And they gave me a job as a youth coordinator.
Okay.
And so I worked there. I worked there for 8 years. And that's sort of how I was doing my community work and different things. And the last day of work, I found out my contract was leaving. And this job that I had already asked me like a week before. They wanted me, and they was like, "We'll take you while you working with them too." I like, okay. And so it was because of the work they see me doing there.
Right.
So the day that my job ended, I was actually starting another job I hadn't even told housing about. And so it just catapulted. I never
Right.
stopped. Just went
So it was
right
a
into
seamless
it.
transition.
Hey, that's exactly what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. You queened on them.
Yeah, I queened on them.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about when you're operating in alignment with your purpose is that everything falls into place. And when one opportunity ends, another one is right
That's
there
it.
for you.
That's it.
What are some of the programs and activities that you all are doing with Project Imagine that you feel like are innovative and groundbreaking and have changed the landscape of what youth have available to them in Danville?
Okay, so it's two things. One thing I want to point out is Clifton Strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
this is a powerful tool that we use because most young people and older, we really don't know who we are most of the time, right?
That.
And so, what we do with our Clifton Strength test, we take those things that you would think as weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So, you might have a child that come in because they've been written up for being a fighter. They fighting in school all the time, and they bucking, they talking back. When you take your strength assessment, you find out they really a future leader. They really a motivational speaker.
Mm.
So I'm like, you fight and you really a protector. That's one of your traits.
Right.
So that's why you fight all the time. You're trying to protect something, but you're trying to protect your reputation. Whereas maybe we can reverse that and you start protecting your reputation by not fighting people for it, but fighting for it. That means going against, putting
Right.
your hands on people getting a charge, but start to say, I'm not going to do it that way. Learn how to use it. So we take those weaknesses and show them, oh, you always talking in class because you a speaker. You a motivator. So they think you're the class clown, but so I think that's one of the most
I
powerfulest
love
tools that we have.
strengths.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
I recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
So that, and then the workforce program that we have. So
Mm-hmm.
the professional, the personalized entrepreneur workforce readiness. So we are able through a partnership with Workforce to pay young people who go through our program, but we just don't put them in any place.
Mm-hmm.
We try to find what they like. So you have young guys who maybe want to be a barber. Where at 13 and 14, we're able to do MOUs with local businesses saying, let our young person come to your barber shop, or let my girl come to your beauty salon or your nail shop. And we're going to pay them to shadow or to
Right.
sweep around there, but you pour into them.
Right.
We do it with businesses, organizations on a larger scale, and I think that's a power plus because, like I said, most of the time you're going back home to that same environment,
Right.
but just getting away for 2 and 3 hours and you're getting paid for it, so you're getting some
Mhm.
money and you feeding something that's in you. Game changer.
Yes. You have to have the opportunity to step outside of the circumstance. And people don't realize that if you're not in a challenging
That's
circumstance,
right.
you're just like, why can't people, lift themselves up by their bootstraps? Well, they don't see anything
That's right.
else. And so those little experiences, those little opportunities for someone who's not in the environment to say one thing, to see something, to see a strength, to share an encouraging word, that's a difference maker.
That's a difference maker. As a matter of fact, we had a young guy and he was involved in gang activity. And I was telling Robert David, my boss, recently, I said, I seen a picture of him. I said he was still trying to throw a gang sign. I said, but it looks so weak
Yeah.
because what has happened is he been tapped into. So
Yeah.
he was one that was really on fire for the program and he done well, really well. And then he hit a little bad spot. But what's in him now is in him. He can't almost go back now because he
Right.
know
He
better.
knows.
So even though he might try, I'm like, it looks so weak because now he know how to work. He know it's more. He know that he can feed his
Mm-hmm.
dream for real. So he don't even look comfortable no more putting the sign up. He don't even have a team no more because he done told the team to do great when he was doing great. And they out there trying to do great.
Yeah. He has inspired them to leave, and he,
Yeah, so he
yeah.
he just hit a bad spot and went back to what
Mm-hmm.
he knew. But the thing is, he's not going back like he was at first
Right.
because he done had that dream field because he worked. He saw his passion. He was able to do something else. So it's killing what would have killed him. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That new fire that you have. So even if they don't continue in that path right away, once that seed planted, it's there, and I believe he gonna be all right. The way that sign going, it ain't gonna be long. He gonna be all the way back to what was planted.
How do you keep yourself motivated, inspired, balanced
Mm.
as you're doing this work? Because it's heavy at
Hmm.
times. How do you
I'm a
stay balanced?
seesaw. I need people to know that first of all. Ain't no balance. Okay, now I'm
I know. I could sense that. That's why you
I'm
got the
trying.
question.
Yep, I'm trying. But motivated. My children, they
Mm-hmm.
really that's my team, my childhood, my teenage. I'm purpose. So if I'm not doing it, I'm gonna feel like I'm dying. And
Mm.
that's just the truth. I could try to go in the house, lock the door, say forget everything, everybody, especially on those days where you have a right to say it. But that thing in me,
Yeah.
it's gonna make I'm just be walking like this to go do it like a zombie because it's calling.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen Pookie on New Jack? It's calling me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it be calling me.
Yeah.
It's calling me. And far as balance goes, I'm getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Not there. I look. Don't
Yeah,
why you have to ask
me
me that?
either. I
Okay, thank
know.
you.
I know. I'm always coaching people on
Mm.
how to achieve balance, and I am a work in progress.
I think with that though, because you look rested, so I
Well,
think that we learn how to
thank you.
balance the unbalanced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I find little ways to, because I know I'm not going to stop. And so even though I won't take my whole day like I should, I'm taking bits and pieces and I'm actually using them to restore. I'm journaling. I'm
Mm-hmm.
breathing deep. I'm looking at Lincoln Lawyer. Even if it's just one good episode, I'm
Mm-hmm.
drinking my Starbucks.
Mm.
I'm taking my moments because I'm not taking a long time, but those little brief moments, I'm getting me back. And so that's
Yeah.
better than just me running on edge raggedy like I used to.
Right. And I don't. You can't go from 0 to 100 when it comes to that
Yeah,
transition. So you can't go from I'm going all the time
that's right.
to I'm completely relaxed.
You're all right with me.
So baby steps
Yeah.
in that process.
Mm-hmm.
When you're thinking about parents today
Okay.
who may be concerned about their child getting involved in gang activity or, other things that are unhealthy, what are your pro tips? How do they step in? How do they make a difference?
I think the best thing is just to always love is essential. love and discipline, and just to know that if you putting in them what you should be, and they have a place where they still feel secure, most of the time you don't have to worry about them straying. If you listen, I guess that's the best pro tip, to just listen, because they love to come home and unwind.
Mm-hmm.
And most time as parents, we're tired because we coming home to unwind in our way, probably go to sleep. But if you listen, they be like, Mom, today Doc was showing off in class again, and he had no clothes, and Doc punched him out in the face, and you just keep listening. You be like, so how do you feel when Doc did that? And you keep listening, and you give some advice on what Doc must be going through something. You should be so glad you don't have to deal with that, because Doc must be dealing with some trauma at home, because anybody that keep coming to school. So if you listen to them when they unwinding, you can kind of insert and inject, and they going on and think about it in a different way. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's what, I hope that makes some sense. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah,
Maintaining a
yeah,
relationship, a real
it works.
relationship, because
Hmm.
they know they're smart,
That's right.
and it's just about opening that doorway
That's it.
to think critically about it and come to their own conclusions and have the support there.
That's it, sister.
Queen, don't you?
Oh, I was ready to get you on it. Yes.
Well, I just thank you so much for being with us on the spot. You've really shared some wisdom and your heart, and I appreciate you and all you do.
God
Thank you.
bless you and thank you. Your name precedes you. You keep holding the torch and doing the walk. They speak very highly of you in my circle, and I see the work you're doing. It's not in vain. I see you on the big screen. There's already the big screen. Despise not small beginners, and we shall meet again, sister.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Queen on them.
On the spot.